Welcome to my channel. My next request is for Daneliya Tuleshova singing Tide. And it's my understanding this is an autobiographical song, so I'm really looking forward to listening to this one. She has a very interesting story. But before I do that, I want to thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being such wonderful viewers, and for all the wonderful comments that you make. I really do appreciate it. And as I do with every artist that I feature on my channel, I'll go to Daneliya's YouTube channel and I'll get all of her links and I'll put them in the description field of my video. So if you will click on the More link on the description, you will find those links. And what I ask you to do is to support these artists by subscribing to their YouTube channels, by following them on their social media, and by buying their music if you like it. This is Daneliya Tuleshova singing Tide.
I'm very nervous, but
T-I-E-D.
My name is Daneliya.
And where are you from?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Wow.
I'm with my mom.
Yeah? And how old are you?
I'm 13.
When I was young, they told me this would be so fun. The shadow of a memory is who I've become. Sometimes I feel so empty, I can't hold myself up. The pressure overwhelms me. Who am I to run? Will the strains keep it quiet? We could dance so they don't fight out. My hands will forever be tied to a person I don't recognize. I'm tied to a fate that is no longer mine. Push my body, push my mind, remind me that I'm half alive. I'm tied, my hands will forever be tied. What if the lights so dim and no one cares at all? Bound to this box, I'm so strung out until they need a show. Will the strains keep it quiet? We could dance so they don't fight out. My hands will forever be tied to a person I don't recognize. I'm tied to a fate that is no longer mine. Push my body, push my mind, remind me that I'm half alive. I'm tied, my hands will forever be tied. If you cut the cords, then I might just fall, that I might just fall down. If you set me free, who am I to call? Who am I at all? If you cut the cords, then I might just fall, that I might just fall down. If you set me free, who am I to call? Who am I at all?
I am here to tell
Well, that was certainly interesting. Daneliya's voice is wonderful as always, but the song, the lyrics, I think she's expressing something that a lot of people who become famous feel, that that person that's on the stage and that's performing is not really me. And there's this dichotomy between the performer and the human being who's just trying to live their life and make it from day to day. And it's not that they don't want to perform, it's that the performing part of them seems almost like a separate entity from who they really are. And that would be especially true for those who, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but they put on an act on stage. They're performing as a certain persona, like a comedian, for example, who might say the most outrageous things in public, but in private they're very docile and very accommodating, and not at all like the persona that they portray on stage. It's like when they walk on the stage, they don this mask that is the performer, and they have the ability to perform within that framework until the performance is complete, and then they walk off stage and they go back to being who they are. And I got the impression from the lyrics that that's a little bit of what she's feeling, is that there's a lot of pressure that's placed upon someone who's talented to do certain things, like perform and go on stage and travel, and things that maybe they're not so comfortable with. You know, if you think about it, if you're a performer and you're doing world tours, you're away from everyone you love for long periods of time, unless you take them with you. And even if you take them with you, you're all wrapped up in the, the hour that you see on stage is a tiny, it's the tip of that iceberg. There's all the preparation that goes into it, the planning, the getting people where they need to be, the sets, the equipment, everything. And there's a lot of work that is involved. You have to practice, you have to rehearse. You know, it's not just walking out on the stage and singing a song. There's a lot more to it than that. And sometimes, especially with younger performers, they're not really aware of that until all of a sudden they do something outstanding, like singing at a talent contest and winning, and bam, they're kind of shoved into this world that they're unfamiliar with and that they don't know they know very little about. They've always dreamt of being a part of it, but they didn't realize what that meant. And now they're in it and they feel they can't get away. As she says, she's tied to that persona on stage. That is who she is now, and it's not who she thought she was. And so there's a conflict, and that conflict will sometimes get resolved and sometimes it won't, and then they go, I'm not saying this is what will happen to Daneliya, okay? Don't misinterpret my words. But with some artists, what happens is they turn to alcohol, or they turn to drugs, or they turn to other things as an escape to get away from that persona that they are on stage, because they feel like they don't have a life of their own, or they feel like they can't make their own decisions. Like once they've made a commitment to do the tour, for example, they're stuck. They can't just say, okay, I've had enough, I'm going home now. You can't do that. Do you realize how much, excuse me, how many people you would anger if you did that? So they feel an obligation to their fans to fulfill their fans' fantasies as well. And so I'm not going to say it's an alter ego, but it is a presentation of themselves that is not the entirety of who they are. And so they feel pressured. And that was what I got from that song, was that she was feeling that. And I think she said she was 13 at the time, so you can imagine at the age of 13, your dreams are coming true, but all of a sudden you realize your dreams might be a little bit of a nightmare besides. And you weren't prepared for that. And so you go, whoa, wait a minute, what have I gotten myself into? And now I can't get out. Just imagine what that's like. So it's up to us as fans to understand that and to be forgiving of artists when they have those difficulties, and to understand where they're coming from and not make demands on them that they can't fulfill or that would be difficult for them to fulfill. You know, we all want to go and touch them and hug them and love them and kiss them and all that stuff, but imagine doing that for 100,000 people. Or if you're a Dtreasure, millions of people. You just can't, even if you want to. And I think Dtreasure would love to go and kiss and hug every person in his audiences, but he just can't. It's not humanly possible. I feel a little bit of that here on my channel sometimes. And look, I'm tiny. I'm really small. But sometimes I feel like I'm not going to be able to satisfy everyone. And you know, I'm not saying I compare to somebody like Daneliya or Dtreasure, no way. But what I am saying is that that feeling is almost universal in people who take on the role of a performer and expose themselves to the public. That's part of the reason behind why I've never finished my book, is because, and it's kind of an ego thing in a way, but then it's not, that if I ever finish the book, maybe it'll be a hit, and if it's a hit, then I'll have to go on tour, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to be a public persona. I really don't, and yet here I am being one to some degree, a small degree, but still. It's interesting to think about, and to be, as fans, we should be sensitive to that. We really should. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. And meanwhile, I'll pray for you. I'll pray that you have an abundant life, that you live a long time, that you're healthy, and that God will keep you safe from harm. I pray that He'll do that same thing for every single person that you love. And I pray most of all that you will be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, you will make your requests known to God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam Era Vet, out.